Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Cricbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
He has said in an interview, I haven't touched a bat in 30 days for the first time in my life. I realized I was trying to fake my intensity, convincing myself to keep going while my body and mind were asking me to take a break and step back. I think we've had long chats about Virat Kohli, the intensity, the fire, the intensity with which that fire burns, and how you don't want that to turn into an inferno that burns the person out himself. I think we discussed this on Cricbuzz Live during the IPL as well. I think Michael Vaughan said it, you said it. We all spoke about how it's okay, he's human, needs a break as much as he feels superhuman. Human needs a break. No surprise here in this revelation then.
No surprise, but I think a refreshing amount of candidness,
Yeah.
For him to be able to say that and to say that, I think to say that he hasn't touched a bat in 30 days is not difficult. But to say that I was over pushing myself over and pretending that I really liked it at a point when I've stopped liking it for a while and I needed to go away from the game to realize that, I think that is important. And I think this is in many ways his open moment. Andre Agassi really started talking about the game, of how much he hated the game at one point in time, only when he was outside it and had that perspective. I mean, Virat has this rare situation where he's actually spent a month away from the game, probably gained a bit of perspective. And as he said, he's not had this break like this in 10 years.
Yeah.
So for 10 years, he's not had a break where he's not held a bat in his hand for a month. So I think there's... and I think he needed to say this.
Yeah.
Somehow I felt that he wanted to get it out of his system and put it out there. And I think also what he's saying is that, I am at the stage that I can say something like that.
Yeah.
A slightly more junior player, if he said that, would say that, oh, he hasn't played for a month. I mean, how's he going to play for India now?
True.
So, lots of questions from there.
I think that's what happens when you're one of the greatest of all time, is that there is enough empirical data and evidence to tell you that he has done enough for the country in all formats. So therefore, he has earned the right to actually speak like that. And I think Indian cricket runs out, the world cricket probably runs out of Virat's bat unless they're playing against him. Everybody wants to see him. We saw that in a video with Shaheen Afridi yesterday as well. That's what happens with sport, right? It breaks through barriers. But this mental barrier that we're talking about, you could tell, because Virat doesn't lack ability. I mean, anybody who questions Virat's ability has been living under a rock for the last 20 years. So it's obviously, it had to be just mental.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, we've talked here, and I think anybody who's talked cricket has always talked about it. It is a physical sport. We just talked about Rana Tunga as well. It's not. It is a mental sport, especially this game of cricket, because it's not just your mind. You're playing in a team. There's a certain role that you're playing which affects the other person who's on the other side of you. So it is a mental sport. There's no doubt. But, it's not 10 years, it's 20 years because, 10 years of international cricket. I doubt that he would have not held a bat for 10 years in the first 10 years before he got to India.
Yes.
So it's a first time that he's experienced this. And people look at life differently. I mean, when you're 18 and 20, and when you get to 30 or when you get to 40, you look at the same scenario differently.
True.
This is the same man who, when his father passed away, he went to the cricket ground that day. He didn't go to the cremation. He went to the cricket ground, finished his innings. At that age, he thought that was what is to be done.
Yeah.
And now he probably thinks differently. That's what he's come out and said. And why Virat Kohli is loved is because of what he does, things that no one else has done or no one else has shown. And I think the energy that he's shown in the last 10, 12 years in international cricket ever since he's come, I doubt that there is any other human being who's shown that kind of energy on the ground day in and day out. Even if he says he faked it in the last, or he had to push himself, I would not use the word faked it because maybe I doubt that he would have made
exactly.
that
He's
way.
just exactly.
I think it's just
exactly
one.
What he's
Sometimes you give an interview and it's edited.
No, it's a turn of phrase. I mean, basically what it means is he had to kind of put it on.
Yeah. So which is something that I would think about. Because that man has not, for a man to think that I didn't want to go to a ground tells you what state of mind he must have been in.
Yeah.
And why and what and all has a lot to do with it. But I'm glad that he's in that position that he can say that, I haven't touched a bat and I can still go out and play for India. I'm so happy about it because everybody who says, when India or any team or any player is seen outside at night or not practicing for 5 days, say, he's not interested. Now, at least with Virat Kohli, nobody will ever say that. So, and I'm hoping, like the whole country is and the whole world, like you said, that he will will score runs because he's bound to score runs, whether he's practiced or not practiced. If not today, tomorrow. Not just him, there have been people who've been away for a while. So this will also break another myth. So I'm just glad for that.
Such a great point.
And great players have to not only pave the way for themselves, they have to pave the way for the ordinary people also who are coming behind them.
Exactly.
And it shows, like you said a little earlier, that this is the strongest mind and the greatest player of all time, or at least at the moment, can go through this. So imagine a young boy or somebody who's played 10 games, 20 games. He can also go through this, but it is just not accepted. When those guys go through this and can't score runs or can't play, Karun Nair comes to my mind first thing, and people who just left him out and forgot about him, a man who scored 100 in a test match cricket, is nowhere around the Indian cricket scene, tells you what? That you only accept people who are successful. When they're down and out, you leave them out there and say that he's got a weak mind. Yes, the greatest player in the world, player of, saying that this can happen to me. So I just hope that the cricketing system and people around this game look at people who are weaker and also help them out.